right. Yeah, so thank you for joining us today. This is our State of the Product webinar. Some of you may know me already. I'm Brendan with ConnectSX Customer Success, and I'm here to get this webinar rolling. We don't think that this webinar will take the entire hour, so you may end up getting some time back. But if any questions arise that you may have, please drop them into the Q&A section, and we'll do our best to answer them at the end. But also, while we're letting people get signed in here, I wanted to just take a minute to point to our website and tell you about some cool things that we have going on over there. So, we're obviously going to be presenting a lot of great info today, but if you want to learn more or you have any questions about things you're trying to learn or issues you're having and you don't want to reach out, we have a lot of free accessible resources here in our knowledge base, in our free downloads. We obviously have the webinar schedule. You know that because you're here. Our blog, and you have the opportunity to reach out to us by submitting a ticket. So I always like to point to this at the top of the webinar just to say, this is where you can find us. Anything you need, we are here. So please head over there and feel free to explore. And from there, I will remove my shared screen and we will introduce our speaker. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Chris Riedel, our CEO, and he's here to walk you through the presentation today.
Hey, thanks, Brendan. Thanks everybody for joining us. It's really, I think, exciting for us to have the opportunity to talk about what we're up to, sort of what we've been doing over the past, handful of months, but also really to take a look into our roadmap so that, we can give you some insight into where we're headed and where we see this going, over the next 12 to 18 months. So I'm going to just start sharing my screen and we will kick things off. So again, thanks for joining us. As Brendan said, this is our Beacon State of the Product webinar today. It's great to have you all here, and we're excited to share some information with you. So as Brendan said, my name is Chris Riedel. I am the CEO of ConnectSX. We have been at this for several years now. Prior to this, I was at the University of Chicago, led up the emerging technology and innovation portfolio, have many years of experience. I am the most passionate though about the work that we're doing here at ConnectSX. So today we're going to cover a few topics, and that includes the current state of Beacon and Beacon Mobile. As you know, or maybe you don't know, Beacon is a unified platform, and it is accessible through the web and through mobile. So basically everything you can do on one form factor, you can do on the other based on your role. So we're sort of going to talk about Beacon and Beacon Mobile as sort of a synonymous platform, because that's really what it is. We don't necessarily segment out one or the other, because things that you can do on the mobile device, by and large, you can do on the website, assuming you've got the right permissions to do so. We're also going to talk about some highlights from the past quarter. So things that we've done since really late December 2024 up to now. And then we're going to dive into our roadmap, which will give you some insight into where we're headed over the next 12 to 18 months. So where we are, Beacon and Beacon Mobile. Beacon and Beacon Mobile have been in production since 2020. Currently, Beacon is at version 5.8.0. I don't know that I need to go into this, but for those who are wondering what those numbers mean, typically the first number is the major release, second number is the minor release, and then the third number is like, a bug fix or an update. So really what that means is we've gone through 5 major overhauls of the platform in the past 5 years, and then we're on the 8th release of this version of the platform with no bug fixes to date. Beacon Mobile is at version 7.0.1. Again, it's been around for quite a while. Beacon Mobile has actually been it was vTracker previously, was in the App Store, I think even probably predating Beacon itself, which we used to refer to as the ConnectSX console. I think that this is important. Everything that we do on Google Cloud, and that's important because it is enterprise grade infrastructure, significant security protocols, very resilient. We leverage Google Gemini AI. We're going to talk a lot more about that. AI, as many of you know, is really been in the news over the past, let's call it 15 months. Google has not been maybe at the top of the pack, but they are really, really making up ground. And we take advantage of a lot of the integrated AI that they have, and we will continue to do so going forward. And then we leverage Google Looker for business intelligence and reporting, which those of you who are customers know that our reporting has gone through over the years, quite an evolution. And Google Looker really provides some powerful tools and is integrating more and more with artificial intelligence so that we'll be able to get even more deep sort of analytics and prediction in the coming months and years. So if we look at Q1 2025, it's just about over, which is hard to believe. But we ask ourselves all the time, well, what have we accomplished? And actually, we've accomplished quite a few things in just the past 3 months. So since late December, since the end of 2024, we've deployed 3 major releases to Beacon. 2 of these were focused on features and improvements. So things that you get our emails perhaps, and you see. New features that we have, like, the ability to scan, barcodes or optical character recognition, or, the ability to do quick transfers and various things. 2 of the releases were really focused on features and improvements like that. And one of the releases was focused on performance, application, resiliency, and security. So we take our platform very seriously. And because we take the time throughout the year to make sure that everything is up to date. We're focusing on security measures. We're focusing on performance. So really, that was a release that we did in January. That was the entire focus of that release. And really, that's about improving the experience and the performance for our customers. Across those releases, we've introduced more than 75 new and updated features. So these span the entire application. But lately, they've been particularly focused on improving our workflows and providing features that simplify our customers' regular work streams. So, the event workflows, inventory auditing, being able to add inventory to the system, things like that. I'm going to touch on a handful of the newest features across the next few slides. Some of these you may be familiar with, some of them you may not. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is quick transfers. This is one that we're pretty excited about. Quick transfers came out of the need to allow sales reps and distributors to pull from multiple stores of inventory. So that would be things like forward stocking locations, various storage facilities, shared pools of inventory across your reps. If you've got reps that sort of borrow into one another's inventory, this would be the argument for quick transfers. Basically, what quick transfers does is it lets you define which custodians your reps can pull from, and then it gives the rep the ability to transfer that inventory to themselves without any intervention from the field team. So basically, when they create a quick transfer, the inventory is immediately transferred into that rep's custody, and the transfer itself is immediately accepted. So this can be done within the context of a surgery, or it can just be done within the context of needing to transfer inventory. They're at a forward stocking location, they see it, they pull it, and they give it to themselves without having to call you up on the phone and say, hey, I got this inventory, can you please transfer it to me? Next is updated reports. So as I had mentioned previously, we use Looker for our reporting and BI tool, and we're constantly adding new reports to Beacon. One of the more recent releases that we did, we redesigned the reports page to make it easier to find what you were looking for. Previously, the reports were embedded in various locations. It was hard to really get a comprehensive list or understand just exactly what reports might you need. So we redesigned the user interface of this section so that you could see not only what does the report look like, sort of in a thumbnail, but also you get a description of what the report is and what it does, which makes it easier for you to quickly pick the item that you actually need. And because we've got more than 40 reports currently and growing, being able to quickly get at the data that you're looking for is really a key focus for us. The next thing is that I want to talk about is third-party integration. So this is something that that we have recently really expanded. So previously we had third-party integrations with QuickBooks and with Xero Financials, and we had an integration with shippers for your tracking information. Well, this one really expands on that. We've implemented an integration service that provides our customers access to integrations with more than 120 third-party tools. So you can see on the screen some of the tools, that we're talking about: Sage Accounting, Sage 100, QuickBooks. There's an SAP Business One, Moneybird, Microsoft Dynamics, HubSpot is in there. There's lots and lots of third-party tools, Slack, all of the Google Suite. So what this does is it allows you to both pull and push data between Beacon and the other apps that you may already be using. This is super powerful, and it can be helpful, in terms of pulling in inventory, or, pulling in directory data. If you store your physicians or your hospitals inside of a CRM, being able to pull that data in to Beacon when you're first starting out, or even to keep it updated if that's where you want, if that's your system of record and that's where you want to keep that information updated, being able to pull it in quickly into Beacon with really just a couple of clicks of a button massively simplifies things. The thing that I will note is that this is a premium feature. So if you're currently a customer and you'd like to try it out, just reach out and let us know, and we will work with you to make that happen. Improved AI for events is another thing that we're pretty proud of. So some of you may know last year we introduced an AI feature that gives users the ability to upload a handwritten bill sheet or an image of device labels. So let's say you took device labels off and you put them on a piece of paper. You take a picture of that and upload it when you're marking devices in a case, and it will automatically parse through that image, look for those devices, and then mark them for you. So this year we improved the feature by enabling you to schedule the entire case from the same bill sheet. So it's going to read all of the bill sheet, all of the demographic information, the surgeon name, the hospital, the procedure type, the anonymous patient ID if you have it. And it allows you to schedule the entire case from that same bill sheet. And then it also automatically takes a step of marking the devices if the devices have been put on the bill sheet. Something else that I will note, which I think is really important, is we have updated the LLM, the large language model that we use in order to improve performance, especially when the document itself is not really in the best shape. So let's say, you've got a document that's got maybe a bunch of lines in the background, or, it's photocopied and the photocopy is not great. We've actually improved the model so that it will better read that, as opposed to provide a failure. Because I think, as many of you can imagine, AI is only as good as the information you put in. So if you put in a bad image, it's really hard to get the right data out of there. But we're constantly tweaking our models so that we can get as close as possible with as little intervention from our reps and our distributors as possible. The next thing that we'll talk about that we've done in the past quarter is updates to scan to import. This one is pretty cool. This leverages our integration with Access Good ID. And so it allows you to use your UDI barcodes to import new inventory into the system. Now, we've had this for several months now, but we recently added the ability to manually increment the number of items for a single scan. So what it means is if you've got 100 items with a matching UDI, all you really need to do is scan one barcode and then just up the quantity to 100, as opposed to, scan everything. It obviously just makes the import process significantly easier, especially if you're in the field and you're a rep or you're a distributor who is getting inventory shipped directly from a manufacturer. You may, if you're a rep and you're receiving the inventory, if you've been given access in our system, permission to import inventory, you can just do it by scanning the barcodes. You don't have to worry about creating a spreadsheet or waiting for someone in operations, from the warehouse to import that inventory for you. You can do it on your own. I'll also say that this is also a feature that needs to be enabled. So if you're a current customer and you don't have access to it and you would like it, let us know and we can get you set up. This is a new one. So our platform is role-based. And basically what that means is that the role that you have defines what access privileges you have as a user. So, we've got admins, we've got operations, we've got regional managers, we have distributors, we have sales reps, and now we have facility managers. And basically what this means is it allows manufacturers and distributors to distribute some of that work downstream to the hospital or the ASC itself. These users are assigned to specific facilities and they only have access to see and interact with items at those locations. So if you have, people in your facilities, whether it's a purchasing person or, particular scrub techs, and they are doing a lot of the work, let's say, you've got, a model where you don't need to have reps in the cases all the time. You can actually assign a role to a facility manager, give that facility manager access to that particular location, and then they will be able to do things on your behalf. You could even put inventory in their custody and they can use that inventory to book cases. So especially useful if, let's say, you do things like, you do direct sales, to a hospital, but you want to track when that inventory gets used in a case, even after it's been sold, you can use a facility manager to facilitate that activity. Improve performance. This is an important one. I think it's something that gets overlooked a lot. But as I said before, we take the performance and the integrity of our platform very, very seriously, and so we spend significant time working on improving the performance through code refactoring, through performance improvement initiatives, through various security implementations. We want to make sure that the platform remains robust and secure in performance. So, in this past January, we took the time to evaluate the code base and we made improvements to support our commitment. And the most recent refactoring saw performance improvements of more than 300% in areas like the all inventory page, as we're looking at the event detail pages and the event list pages and others. So every time we do this, we see additional increases in performance, and hopefully that comes through when customers log in and they see things are moving in many cases quicker than they were just the day before. And then I think finally, UI and UX improvements. This is an ongoing focus of our team. User interface and user experience are very important, and we are constantly looking for ways to make Beacon faster, make it easier to understand, and make it easier to use. So most recently, we did an overhaul of the audit section, which is what you're looking at here, and made several changes to the directory sections as well. Things like, Google verified addresses to make it easier for you to fill in the address and ensure that those address details are correct. I mean, that's a user experience thing that really simplifies people's lives because they don't have to keep going back and changing fields that may be wrong. And you'll notice, customers of ours will notice that continually, every time we do a release, we're tweaking the UI and we're tweaking the experience so that it is better, faster, and easier to use. So that's sort of what we've done over the past quarter, which is a lot, and that's not even the half of it. As I mentioned, we've done more than 75 new features over the past just about three months or so. That's only a sampling. So if you'd like to see more, you can go to the website. You can also check out our knowledge base where we have release notes. But what we're going to move into now is the 2025 roadmap. So I guess the big question is, where are we headed next? We have kept an aggressive roadmap from the very beginning. This year is no different than any other year, except for the fact that for the first time, we're actually sharing the roadmap openly. And we're doing that because we believe in where we're headed and we want open feedback from both current and prospective customers about your needs and how our development plans can help you achieve your goals. So hopefully the things that you're going to see in the next handful of slides will get you excited, but hopefully it will also sort of get your mind running and get your imagination working on what are the things that you would really like to see in a sales and logistics platform like ours that would help you really take your business to the next level. So we've broken our roadmap into 5 key themes, and I'm going to go through each of the themes individually here, but then we're actually going to dig a little bit deeper into each one and what types of things we are looking at when exploring new features related to the theme that we're talking about. So the first thing, I think this is, top priority, top of mind, is automation and efficiency. Now, this is really about simplifying the platform for you and your team. And a big part of that includes automating as much of the manual and repetitive tasks as possible. If you have to do things manually over time, that is just a huge time suck. One of the things that we talk about is how much time we save individuals and companies annually. I mean, on a weekly basis, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours per person per week. It's because we make the workflows more efficient and we automate as much as we can. Integration and APIs is a big one. No one uses single monolithic systems anymore. Even so, most of those systems that you do use don't talk to each other. So you have things in spreadsheets, or you have things in, a CRM, or you may have some things in a lightweight ERP, or maybe you've got a bunch of stuff in a SharePoint site. That data is great, but it doesn't do you a whole lot of good when it lives in a silo. So we're focusing on making it easier to push and pull data in between systems so you can get the most comprehensive view of your business without having to worry about access to that siloed information in the individual silos. This is a big one, a big sort of buzzword for everybody, AI and agents. When I say agents, I'm really talking about what is commonly referred to as agentic AI. The AI is everywhere. I think that there's no denying that, and it's not going to go away, and it certainly isn't going to slow down. We have seen that. I don't know, on the sort of user side. I'm not sure how far people have dug into it yet, but we're looking at it from sort of the enterprise and technology level, and it is accelerating at an unbelievable pace, and we just don't see that changing anytime soon. So we're making a commitment to leverage the best in emerging AI technologies to support our customers' businesses, and even in ways that you may not be able to imagine for yourself. So hopefully, as we roll out more of these AI features, you'll be not only surprised, but pleasantly so, because it will be something that, hey, I didn't even realize that I could use AI to do that. Reporting and prediction. This is a really important one for us. As everyone knows, reporting is critical to any business. We already have a powerful BI tool, as I mentioned, in Looker, and we're working to take full advantage of its integrated capabilities to give you more robust reporting, better predictive analytics, and richer data. There is a lot that we are not taking advantage of yet, but we are unlocking those capabilities over the next handful of months, and we think that you're going to be excited by what that really means for you. And then finally, UI and UX excellence. So this is something that can be taken for granted. Lots of companies do. We think that that's a mistake. Whoops, sorry about that. We, however, are doubling down on the impact that great UI and user experience can have for our user base. So because we know most people don't have time to learn something new, it's incumbent upon us to make it as easy and as fast to integrate with a new platform or onboard with a new platform as absolutely possible. And we believe that UI and UX is what does that. So having a really great UI, a really great user experience makes it that much easier for your reps or your distributors or your warehouse team or your operational folks to get on board, because it's logical. The things that we're doing are logical, and they make sense, and that makes it easier for your team to actually begin to use the tools. All right, so the first area of focus, automation and efficiency. So scanning enhancements is something that we're looking at. We have plans to improve our current barcode and OCR scanning features. A lot of the scanning happens through the phone. Cameras on phones are not barcode scanners, and so they can tend to be a little bit squirrely, but we're doing what we can to improve that and make it easier to use the barcode scanner on the phone. You can also Bluetooth scan, which actually is far more accurate, but we know that that's not always an option. So we're looking to improve these capabilities. We're also looking into NFC and RFID capabilities to support other technologies that you might already be using. So NFC would be what you would use with your phone. RFID obviously requires an RFID scanner. The phone doesn't scan RFIDs by default, but we think that there is an option or an opportunity to integrate RFID with our tools to just make it easier for you to have a more comprehensive enterprise solution. Geolocation and location history is something that we've been looking at for a while. We're going to be leveraging more of your mobile device's hardware to make it easier to set the geolocation of your inventory. So as you know, we've got custody and we have location. Custody sort of sits at the top of the hierarchy with where your inventory is, and then location is a sub-tracking mechanism below the custody. We already track custody in transfers, but we're also going to be tracking the location history to give a more granular view of device movements in the field. So if a rep is, in a warehouse or in, let's say, a hospital storeroom, we want to give the rep the ability to go to that piece of inventory. They can scan it, go to it, and click use my current location, and it will set the location. And that will be one less thing that they have to worry about while giving you full visibility into where your inventory is at. Extended auto reconciliation. So what we mean by this is, we currently do many of these things. We're continuing to look for new opportunities to help automate tasks like, reconciling audited inventory, which is something that we do. Swapping lots is something that is a real problem for people, and we're looking at ways to automate that process. Building kits is something that is very time intensive. We're looking for ways to more effectively automate that process. We do it now with bombs. But we're looking for ways to make that even smarter and even more efficient. And then bulk data management is something that is always on people's minds. You guys have a lot of data, to manage. Our customers have a lot of data to manage. We're going to be rolling out new ways to update data in bulk, and we're going to be doing it using our new integration tools, because that is going to be, I think, the most efficient and effective way to be able to make that bulk update possible. This is one that I'm excited about, integration and APIs. As I said, we're already doing a lot with integration, but we're looking at taking advantage of things like public data sets. So we already integrate with FDA, with FDA's Good ID. There's opportunity to integrate with other data sets that are publicly available, including the NPI database. FDA has a recall database. There's place data from various sources. So really looking at how can we leverage those to make sure that your information that you're getting into our system is accurate from the beginning, because it's coming from a verified source. We're looking at getting additional connectors implemented for some of the more prevalent ERP systems like NetSuite and QAD, just to name two. That will then make it easier for you to connect our system with your existing systems without having to, do really costly integration projects, because those can be both expensive and time intensive. We're also moving to provide an open API option to customers needing more complex integrations. This is a little bit further down the roadmap, but we think that we use our API to deliver our service. And so we think it makes sense for us to build out a environment where we can just give our customers with technology resources, technology teams, access to the API to do the things that they need to do to move the data into their complex enterprise systems. Payments integration is something that we've been talking about for a while. We're investigating the potential for a payments integration that could help in both receiving payments from your customers, hospitals or ASCs, if that's something that they were willing to engage with, as well as potentially making payments like commission payments to reps and distributors. So this one is a little bit more aspirational, but it is something that is under active investigation, because we think that there is a real opportunity here, and we want to make sure that we're traveling all the way down the path, to get value. And then finally, similar to payments, we're exploring a possible integration with a video service like Zoom to enable live support to and from the field. So this would really just provide you with video access from within the app. Let's say, you're a rep in the operating room, something happens, you need to contact somebody in the warehouse, you can do a video chat. Or, let's say you are one of those manufacturers who have people in the hospital using a facility manager role that is, let's say it's a scrub tech maybe, that's in the surgery, and they need to get support because the device isn't working right or they have a question. We think that, video conference integration is a viable option. Again, it's a little bit further down the road, but it's something that we are actively exploring. AI and agents. So this one is the one that I am the most excited about. There is a lot of opportunity with AI, and it is only going to grow as time goes on. So improved AI chat interface. We've had a chatbot for a while now. and it's focused on providing simplified access to our knowledge base. So, basically what that means is the chatbot has read our entire knowledge base. You can ask a question: how do I book a case? How do I import inventory? And the chatbot will give you an answer based on the documents that we have in the knowledge base. In the coming months, we're going to be improving the overall interface to that chatbot, as well as connecting it to additional data sources. So, we're hoping to be able to connect it to uploaded documents. So maybe you can search documents that you upload, and various other sources that will improve the value of that data that you're getting. Beacon AI Receptionist. This one is pretty cool. So we're working on a new AI receptionist that will make it possible to just tell Beacon what you'd like to accomplish. So schedule a case, as an example, import inventory, make an inventory request, and then the reception will actually do it for you. So you probably see this currently, in your banks do a lot of this, right? Where, I would like to make a deposit, and then the bank just sort of prompts you, the chatbot prompts you through the things you need to do. We think that this is going to be very effective, and it's going to provide a lot more flexibility to our users and help them do their work. We think it's going to help them do their work a lot faster. Multimodal improvements. So we're currently exploring new options for increasing the capacity of our scanning features. So when we say multimodal, we mean, you scan, or you take a picture, or you upload a document. So we're looking at increasing the capacity of our scanning to include documents and complex images for things like auditing and making inventory requests. Again, this one is a little more in the nascent stages, but we believe that the opportunity is there, as is the potential. Automated insights from event comments. This one is also pretty exciting. So we've actually done a lot of work on this already, and we are planning on rolling out an option, rolling out a new feature that can read unstructured data from your event comments based on keywords, and then it can provide insight and analysis to aid in things like post-market surveillance and even complaint reports. So if you've got a rep in the room, and something happens with the device, they can make a comment. The AI will be able to read those comments and then generate a consolidated report, and then email that report to you. So we think that there's a lot of potential and a lot of power in a tool like that. And then finally, conversational analytics. So we are planning to leverage our existing BI tool to let you get critical sales and logistics insights just by asking Beacon a question. So, things like, how much did I spend in shipping last week? We have all that data. So you should be able to ask the tool that question and be given insight, be given the information back. Or something like, how much would my profit be impacted if I increase the price of catalog number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 4%? And then you get an answer back. We think that all of these things are extraordinarily possible, and we think that we've got a pretty good pathway to be able to get those implemented into Beacon. So the next theme for the roadmap is reporting and prediction. Everybody loves reports. I mean, your business runs on data and on information, so it's really important, that we get the reports right. We plan to improve on existing reports to provide better predictive data. So, we have historical information, and that historical information over a given time period is going to help us predict what you might expect to happen in the next quarter or next 2 quarters, maybe even adjusted for seasonality. So that's something that we're really excited about. Order and fulfillment optimization. This is something that we're doing a little bit of now, but we want to get more in depth with it and be able to help you make better decisions about where your data should be moved to based on how it's being used, or where it's sitting, or how old it is, when it's going to expire. We think that that's really important. Suggestions for cost avoidance. So, we think that the more data gets put into your account, the more realistic it is going to be to give you information on how to avoid costs like excessive shipping costs or excessive inventory building costs. You've got a bunch of inventory that could be built into kits. If you build the kits, you don't have to, make new inventory. Or if you move the inventory because it's been sitting dormant at these 4 reps, you don't have to build these new kits. We think that all of those things are certainly possible. And then even giving insights into revenue opportunity, right? So, maybe you've got doctors that you haven't done cases with for a while, so that would basically fall into lead engagement or upselling or pricing strategies. The more information you have and the more information we have access to run through our business intelligence tool, the more opportunity there is for us to give you even more value in the reporting domain. And then we've got UI and UX excellence. So as I mentioned before, we have a strong focus on creating the most user-friendly platform in the industry. It happens by constantly striving to build sleek, usable, elegant interfaces. So we want these things to be not only pretty to look at, but more importantly, they need to be really easy to use. Doing this, it also comes by working hard to reduce the number of clicks it takes to achieve a task. So we're always asking ourselves, how many clicks can I take out? It takes 10 clicks to get to the end of this workflow. Can we do it in 5? Can we do it in 4? Can we do it with voice? So that is a significant focus of ours. We're also very interested in leveraging our growing expertise in AI to provide predictive actions to users. So let's say, for example, you do cases with Dr. Jones every Monday and their particular, let's say you do a total knee. Having Beacon anticipate that for you and ask you if it would like, if you would like it to create the cases in advance, and then actually you just say yes, and it would do the work for you. So, predicting what you are likely to do, asking you if you want it to do it, and then Beacon just does the work for you. And then speech to text to action. So, because a good portion of our users are constantly on the go, so we're thinking, reps, they're always in the car, or they're moving from hospital to hospital. They've got a lot of things on their plate. We're always looking at ways to implement speech to text to then take action to help get your work done. Even if you are on the road, because when you need to get it done, you don't want to have to pull over. You don't want to have to take an extra 10 minutes and sit in the parking lot and get some work done. You'd like to be able to get it done as soon as a thought crosses your mind. So with that, I am going to show one thing here. This is not really about a demo today, but I do want to show, this is a prototype that we're working on. This is related to the speech to text to action. It's also related to the AI and using an agent to do work for you. So I'm just going to give you a quick view. I'm sort of in our development environment. And this is an AI chatbot, as you guys know. And so I'm just going to say hi to the chatbot. And it's, hi, I'm here to help you create a surgical or inventory event. You can provide details, and I'm not going to read this to you. You can see it, but it's basically a prompt telling you, hey, I'm here to help you. What do you need to do? And so then I am going to, for the sake of time, I'm just going to paste in, and you can see here, let me start this way. To create a case. And I say, okay, start gathering the information for the case. And then this is what I've got here. I've already got the information for the case. Let's just pretend I typed it all in. And then I'm going to click send. And it's going to say, okay, I've got most of the information. Just to confirm, the date is June 24th, 2025. The time is 8 a.m. The representative is Chris. Surgeon is Dr. Brown, Northwestern. That's all the stuff that I just typed in, including the procedure and the patient ID. So then now it's going to ask a few more details. And if you're a customer of ours or you're familiar with the platform, you'll recognize these things. Are there any procedure modifiers? So right, left, lateral, anything like that. I'm just going to say, no, there's not. Okay, do you have a preference card? Now, if I had a preference card, I could associate it to it, but I don't. So I'm just going to say no. And then here's what I get. Here's a summary of the events. And then it's telling me, the date, the time, all of the pertinent information. And then does everything look correct? I can let it know what to change. Or I can just say, yes, looks good. You can just say yes, you don't need to be polite. And then what this is going to do now, this is of course a development environment, but here's a summary of the details. And then this is what would go into our database. So we are right at the cusp of being able to do some of these things where you're going to be able to tell have Beacon on your phone and tell it, I need to create a case. Great. Give me the details. You give it the details. It creates the case for you. You don't even have to think about it. So we're pretty excited about that. And there's a lot more that is going to be happening sort of in the same domain, in the same realm. So So look for that over the next year, because that's going to be coming. So that's pretty much it for the presentation. I know we're sort of coming up on time, and I want to close by, just reinforcing the entire reason that we exist is to make sure that everyone in this industry trying to address the challenge of field inventory and field sales logistics management has the very best tools at their disposal, no matter how big or small their business is. You shouldn't have to be a $500 million company to afford really good tools for your team. You deserve the best tools, and we want to be the partner that provides those tools to you. So, to anyone on the call that's not currently a customer, reach out. We would love to have a conversation. To those that are customers, you guys know, always reach out. We're here for you. We're going to be supportive of whatever your needs are. And if you know people, if you know people that you think could really use or take advantage of what we provide, and the direction that we're moving. I mean, you guys have now seen firsthand our roadmap. If you can think of people in your network that would be excited as we are about all of these capabilities and all the things that are possible, please refer them to us. We would love to have a conversation. So with that, thanks for giving me your time and your attention. And I'm not sure if we've got questions, or we're happy to answer any questions that anybody has. Feel free to pose them if you haven't. But I think with that, I will turn it back over to Brendan.
Hey there. Thanks for sticking with us. I don't see, excuse me, any questions coming in yet, but we'll wait a few seconds and let everybody make their submissions, if there are any coming up. I did want to mention at the end of the webinar that we're also on, most of the social platforms. We're constantly posting new video content, new articles, new white papers and resources to our LinkedIn, our YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, or formerly known as Twitter. So please feel free, or not feel free, please go take a look at those. We'd love to connect with you there as well. So we don't have any questions that have come in, but thank you, Chris, for taking us through that presentation. And everyone else who attended or didn't get to attend, we'll be sending out a recording of this webinar in the next day or two. So look out in your email for that. It'll also be posted to our YouTube channel. So thanks for tuning in, and please show up for our next webinar as well.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks, Brendan. Everybody have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.